We are back with another triathlon podcast brought to you by Mauna Apparel. And where do we even start this week? This is going to be an interesting one. There have been so many announcements across triathlon in every distance. So we have a few things to chat about. Almost luckily, there weren't any big races on the weekend, so we've got lots of time to dive in, talk things all PTO, Ironman announcements across the board. So we'll have some fun kind of chatting about all of that. But first, as always, I'm joined by Josh and Bede, and let's kind of catch up on what's been going on in our world. Let's start with you, Josh. What have you been up to these days?
It's same old. Training, and balancing with the full-time job and life and family and all that, and sneaking a few fun activities in between here. Had a impromptu trip back down to Peloton again this weekend. There's a cool little partnership that's about to be announced, and Athletic Brewing asked me to be a part of it by riding on Monday afternoon with Kendall Toole, one of the other Peloton instructors. So I was like friends of the family passes and got to ride right on camera the whole time. So really neat experience down there this weekend, and added a few extra classes and made sure it all fit within my training schedule. Missed the pool session. That was about it. But got back in the pool last night, and certainly feel when you miss a couple of days of pool time, man, you feel it. And it shows. But I figure I got about two plus months to get it going consistently, and I feel like I'm at that spot now. And training is certainly picking up. Speaking of tonight, I had my first 30-30s last week, and she felt I did too well at it, so we upped it from 20 last week to 30 this week. So I got 2 intervals of 15 and at FTP. So going to be pushing some major watts over and over again tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. That'll burn the legs a bit.
Yeah, looking forward to it though, and then a nice little 20-minute run off the bike. So we'll see how I'm doing.
You'll feel like you're floating along. I promise.
And as we were just talking about before we came online, I've began working on my own custom tri-suit with Mauna Apparel. So that's to be announced, and I'll share some pictures once that's done, and really excited about that. And signed up for my first 70.3 relay as of a couple hours ago too. So I'm going to be doing Maine as a relay and doing the bike leg and going full send, and looking at the relay times from last year. I think the team I just put together has a chance.
That's wicked. Oh, super stoked. You'll definitely have to share with everyone when you get your mock-up of your Mauna suit. And if anyone else out there is listening, Mauna has officially launched their custom tri-suit program. So you don't need a whole club or team of suits. You can kind of design and have a one-off done just for yourself if you want to check that out. Highly recommend. I did it before Kona last year, and I'll be looking at doing another one this year. It's just fun to have your own kit with your own design, something that just speaks to your unique experience and personality.
And a little bit of inside scoop too after the last week you just had as well.
Yes, definitely be chatting more about that, because that was so much fun. It was wicked. But how about you, Fede? What's going on in your world? How did your race go? How are you feeling? Tell us all about it.
Yeah, hey guys. So I just got back home yesterday from New Zealand. Did a race over there, the Tauranga Half. It's a middle distance race, and it's an awesome venue. Fun fact, it is the only 70.3 in New Zealand that has an ocean swim. All of the rest are lake swims, or but it was fun to swim in the ocean. No sharks, which is good. The bike for New Zealand, it's the fastest bike course. It is on a main highway, just 2 loops out and back, and the run is amazing. It's rolling, and they have you run this 4-ish K loop around the mount, which is a little mountain area, which is a mix of soft trail, and it's awesome. I finished 5th, which is okay, for the first race of the season, and that got me qualified for WTCS Long Distance Worlds in Australia, but
yeah.
I did not took the slot.
No,
Yeah.
we need another podcast catch up on us.
Yeah, like I talked about it with my coach, and he said, I don't know if it really fits the calendar. You really want to do well here in December up in Topo, so might as well just decline it. And since I'm already doing Ironman Texas in April, then that's gonna get my long distance bug scratch off, and maybe if everything goes well, go back to Kona in October. So, but yeah, race went well. Nutrition was awesome. The bike was good. It's always a bit tricky to travel, long distance and with bikes and everything. But everything was really really good, and the venue was awesome. And yeah, I just can't wait to be back later this year for a bit of a training block, and then the race. I know there's more and more Mona athletes qualifying for Worlds, and hopefully the three of us here will be there racing, which is I think it's a goal of ours to be up there racing.
That would be a lot of fun. Do a podcast.
Let's go.
Yeah, that'd be wicked. And so how's the body feeling after the travel back is probably the hardest part, but the race, the travel, getting
Yeah.
back on the right time difference there.
Yeah, no, the body's bounced back really good. Like the day after the race, I did a hike, and body was feeling a bit sore, but not too bad. And another thing that helped is that I went out play a round of golf, and most of the golf courses in New Zealand are walk only, so that was good for the legs. Flushing everything out, playing a little bit of golf out there. I saw you guys were were having fun over the weekend. Uh,
Oh.
which yeah, that was fun, and just being outside, hey, training indoors most of the year, and then having the opportunity to be at a place like that, it's just awesome for me, and that just gives me a little bit of a mental breakdown and like a nice reset for the rest of the year.
Oh, that's awesome. Sounds like it was a great time and a great trip over too.
Yeah, definitely. And well, of course, the travel back was the harder part because the flight was at 4 p.m. and I couldn't sleep a lot. But yeah, getting there, slowly but surely. Yeah. What about you, Jenna? What's been happening in your corner?
Well, let's say, ironically, going somewhere to test out triathlon suits, hang out with a bunch of pro athletes, and geek out on triathlon, I got to next to no training in during that time. Like, honestly, an hour 40 last week, which is
Awesome.
insane. Oh my goodness. So, went down to Texas with the Mauna Apparel crew. And that's one thing. I know this sounds like a sales pitch sometimes, but one thing I so appreciate with Mauna Apparel is we're really invested in making sure it's the fastest tri suits, the most comfortable tri suits, and we took it to the test. So what we did was we brought a couple of our professional athletes that we sponsor, Fenella Langridge, who is absolutely crushing it out there, and oh my goodness, the sweetest person. And then Jason Pohl, who's actually a local from here who's been stepping up the results on the world stage. So it was very cool to see them. And then we also had Philip and Gonzalo from the Mana management team, and Guille, who does Mana media. So he is an incredible photographer and videographer and stuff. So we got to have some fun documenting all of it. But basically, what the goal was a few days of testing where we wanted to find out what was the fastest tri-suit, what was the tri-suit that would keep your body coolest when it came to race day. And one thing I was super impressed with is Gonzalo. He's kind of the head of development for Mauna Apparel. So he's tested out so many different fabrics. He's had them flown in from all over the world to find the best fits in there. And we ended up with 3 tri-suits. And we were going to test heat dissipation and aerodynamics for these 3 tri-suits on Jason and on Vanilla, just to get a really good idea, 2 different people, 2 different genders, like just to see if it works for both of them or not. So it was very cool because he lined out, I think this is going to be 1, 2, and 3 on the heat dissipation. This will be 1, 2, 3 on the aerodynamics. And he nailed it. Like absolutely nailed it, which was impressive. But it started with day one. We went down to a lab there, free speed lab. Jorge there was an awesome coach and tester and stuff. And the first day we put them in a hot room, turned up the heat, like hot, which I would not have wanted to be doing that testing, but they had sensors, they had the core body temperature, they had like blood oxygen going to the different muscles and VO2, like everything attached to them during this test. And they tested out suit 1, 2, 3, and then 3, 2, 1. So that kind of body temperature rising and fatigue would come into play less so, to see which suit kept the body coolest and was most comfortable in those situations. And it was really clear. Fenella had a very clear difference in the feel in one of the suits. And then the data backed it up as well.
Interesting.
And Jason had kind of the feel of it, but the data kind of showed that that same suit that Fenella felt like, his body core temperature was actually lower, didn't rise quite as much in it. So it was really cool to see two different athletes that got basically the same result in there. And then we took it to the velodrome, which I've never been to a velodrome before. I'd never tried it out and stuff. So what we did there was some aerodynamic testing to see which suit would be fastest given, calm weather, moderate temperatures, what would go faster than any of the others. And once again, Gonzalo nailed it. And we had both of them found that the aerodynamic numbers of this one particular suit on both of them was measurably faster on the velodrome, which I didn't realize that like these are pretty dialed in and fast suits, that we can still see watt differences between 3 suits with different fabrics is crazy and awesome to me, because that's anytime you're getting faster just by changing your tri-suit, that is free speed. Absolutely. And then we kind of took it another level up after that, and we added the calf sleeves. And again, we saw a measurable difference in the aerodynamics once we added the calf sleeves. So it was just so much fun to geek out, test all this stuff out. Unfortunately, the weather while we were there was like apocalyptic rain, thunderstorms, like craziness. The pool kept getting shut down because of lightning, and it was like torrential downpour, except for 2 mornings. We got a few hours of clear weather. So luckily we could do the aerodynamics testing because it was an outdoor velodrome. But it was absolutely insane. So unfortunately didn't get the chance to do much outdoor riding or running. Did run one run in the pouring rain, but then the lightning started getting sketchy. So it was definitely an interesting experience.
I saw you and Fenella both put up separate stories of your run through what looked like the Amazon forest and not Texas for sure.
No, they definitely don't have drainage for rain like that. Like everything was absolutely flooded. It was, crazy out there. So unfortunately, my time to do some testing got a little shortened because obviously we want to get our pro athletes out there. That was the goal. But we did have enough time to do a couple quick runs to see the watt difference between a sleeveless and a sleeved tri-suit. So I know some people aren't completely sold on sleeves are actually faster, and I'll be having a little social media kind of video coming out to show what the difference was, because it was significant, very significant. So, and the crazy part was just kind of getting on the velodrome. Like I wasn't too worried looking at it from the outset, but then Fenella and Jason, it took them a while to get comfortable and kind of going around it. So I'm like, is it really that hard? Like, if I'm nervous, I'm like, should I be nervous? But no, it wasn't too bad once you get out there. A couple laps around, it was good to go. It was more just kind of on this one. It's an outdoor track in the sun, so there were some fairly significant cracks in places. So you just kind of had to dodge the cracks a little bit. It was
that track seemed really cool, and it seemed like just a whole awesome experience being around the pros, being around that dialed in type of technology and everything that's out there these days. And like you said, free watts for putting on a different suit. Sure, sign me up.
Right? Yeah. It's crazy when we're talking minutes at the end of the day from a tri-suit. Like, that is insane.
Yeah.
And it was really fun. Everyone was really awesome too. We just had an Airbnb with everyone in there. And sometimes it's kind of like you know, you don't know these people and it could be tough at times, but we just had the best crew. Everyone was super friendly and chill. And yeah, we had a lot of fun with it. And Fenella, she can cook. Like anything we had left over, she just make great stuff. So she was awesome to have in the house.
Nice. Well, I think Fede and I would both like to see video of the actual golf swings.
Yeah.
Oh.
Golf. We were waiting for those stories to come around. We just kept seeing still pictures.
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool to see. Yeah.
There is a reason I do triathlon. Like I almost nailed. Oh my goodness, it was so bad. I almost nailed someone during it because and it hit like the ball dispenser thing and went sideways.
Yeah.
In the next, I am so bad at golf. It is. Oh, not even funny. It just, yeah, was not pretty.
Breaking news: Jenna out for season. Thanks to
like they could have been. Vanilla was solid though. She was surprising.
Nice.
Her and her partner Billy were giving some tips and stuff. Couldn't save my game by any means, but at least I wasn't hitting other people after that.
Well, that's good that everybody came out alive.
Yeah, everyone survived. It was nice. It was a lot of fun. And just, you know what, being up close and personal, seeing how these pros train and eat and kind of prioritize things, like, man, I need to do a lot more mobility work and focus on nutrition more, because they're definitely doing things very differently than I am.
It's definitely very interesting, like you said, Jenna, because a lot of pro athletes have different approaches. Like we see the Norwegian guys, and they seem that they just eat donuts and Coca-Cola 24/7. And I remember watching a video and Christian saying, I can't remember last time I had a physio massage or anything like that. And then you see guys like pro athletes really methodical, taking care of their bodies, watching what they eat, going to the physio regularly. And then again, it just shows us that everybody responds differently to different sort of adaptations, stimulus.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, I think it's whichever environment makes you the happiest, that's where you're gonna thrive. I think Fenella has a really great group around her, as well as Jason. And then again, the Norwegians. And the common denominator for those guys is that they are surrounded by good people, and they just are happy athletes. And it doesn't matter if they don't get a massage; they are happy and they're happy to train, as well as Fenella. But there's no secret ingredient or the one recipe that works for everyone. This is the beauty of the sport, and that's why coaching is so amazing. Each athlete is different, and we need to find what works for every single one of them.
Yeah, that's my favorite part. Just kind of figuring out that puzzle, what works for different people. But you know what? I think the biggest thing at the end of the day is just picking a lane, buying into it, and committing.
Yeah.
And I think that's where we see kind of the difference in some pros and stuff. And probably the biggest frustration with most people like Lionel Sanders and stuff. Kind of pick a lane, buy in that, and give it some time to work, right?
It's that consistency, and over time, I mean, you see some of these people like Lionel who've been around a long time, and I've even watched a bunch of like the Ben Canute videos recently, and he's like kind of like Fenella. I mean, he went to get aero tested in North Carolina and took his mobility kit with him, and like got in the hotel gym and did a whole bunch of mobility work while he was waiting to fly home and stuff. So there's so many extremes, like Fede said. I mean, there's different methods for everyone, but what they all have is that consistency, and whatever schedule they may choose to have or whatever food they choose to use, it's the consistency factor, and that's what works for them. And what else age groupers and coaches are trying to instill in our own training and our athletes training.
Yeah, absolutely. So after that week, I'm feeling pretty fresh. So smashing myself this week. I've got, just looking here, 10 and a half hours in the last 3 days. So it's feeling fresh, we'll say.
Speaking of mobility and physio.
It's there. Well, let's keep rolling through here. Like I said, we have so much to chat about this week, but we'll start off with our favorite kind of segments. Let's go with Josh. What do you got for social media posts?
Well, I think we're going to cover pretty much everything in the social media world in a little bit here in regards to the schedules that have been released and what's coming up for the 2024 season and beyond. But yet again, there was a post that kind of took the limelight away from some of that as well, because Mr. Jan Frodeno decided to pop back up and throw a little teaser out there that this new T100 series has piqued his interest and was asking if it was okay if he came out of retirement. So what are you guys' thoughts? I mean, is this serious? What is Mr. Jan gonna show up at 5 or 6 of these races, take a few wild cards?
I tell you what, if he's not coming back, he is definitely making a few athletes train harder than they are right now. That's for sure.
Yeah, putting some fear into a few of them. How good would that be? Could you imagine? Like, oh, that'd be so great to see him jump into some of the wild cards.
Well, and it goes right along with some of the posts that I've been seeing too. So it is definitely in the same world of this segment. And there's been a lot of memes about like Jan Frodeno in retirement and me in the peak of my athletic career, and the pictures are nowhere near. And there's Jan.
Jan with his ripped abs hanging from a bar.
Retired Jan looking better than anyone in the sport.
Yeah. I think I saw one post. I think the one Jen and you were saying, Jan is hanging doing like leg races, and then it's like Jan Frodeno, retired athlete, and then the next picture is like me at 25, and it's this grandma with an asthma inhaler.
They're so good. There's been so many of them going around. It's awesome.
It's either Jan Frodeno or Taylor Swift. Who knows what you're going to see these days?
Oh,
there you go.
You know what? I'm so curious. I don't really think he's going to, but it would be so fun to see him jump into a few of these, especially with the fields we got out there. It'd be so fun to go back to some of those Olympic showdowns and stuff, because you've got like Alistair Brownlee and Javier Gomez doing these races. Throw in Jan Frodeno and you can have some of the battles from back in the day on the Olympic circuit. That would be fun to see play out.
Yeah, especially in the Olympics, before some of the wild cards start to get taken by some of the post-Olympic guys. So I mean, you throw him in there in Miami, Singapore, California. Hey, they got spots.
Oh my goodness, so good. Well, let's move on to my what the F, and then we can dive into all of this PTO fun and all of the other announcements this week. So my what the F for the week is Lucy Charles is foregoing her chance at backing up her Ironman World Championship win to take on the PTO series. I'm not totally surprised. I think Kona, she's got pretty dialed in. Nice is an entirely different course and situation, and well, from what I've heard on the back end is PTO's paying pretty well for some big names to come out there. So not surprised at all, but I think a lot of people will be in there. What do you guys think?
It's still WTF, right? Because it's your defending champion, and it was the biggest race of your life. And yeah, I know it's not Kona again, but you're the defending champ. But now we know that each of these individual contracts were negotiated. And there's definitely something very lucrative in Lucy's contract outside of any prize purse that she could win in the series alone that kept her from going to Nice. That would be my guess.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat, Josh. And just to add on that, I think like the elephant in the room is that every pro athlete and every athlete, age group as well, they're going to prefer racing the World Champs in Kona rather than Nice. I'm 85% sure if this was the case of Lucy defending back again in Kona, she would be hesitant in signing with the with the T100. But because the World Champs are in Nice and she had already won Kona, and then it was a no-brainer for her. I mean, yeah, that's my take on that.
And Nice might not be tailored to her biking skills either.
Yeah.
Too. I mean, we all know that that's a huge factor. Whereas she
Also
trained
that.
all inside, knowing that she was going to be riding a predominantly flat course in Hawaii.
Mm-hmm. I think that's one of the biggest things. She's at a big disadvantage with the bike handling skills, so may as well take the money from the PTO and save it for Kona the following year and try to back it up there.
And on top of it, she was the poster child with Alistair Brownlee at the announcement yesterday.
Yeah, they were all over that.
Yeah.
Well, let's roll into it. So if you haven't heard, if you're not geeking out on triathlon as much as we do, there is the PTO has finally mostly announced their pro series. They are going to have 8 races. And for these races, they'll have 20 contracted pros. And those top 20 male and female pros will have to show up to at least 6 of the 8 races. But to be in running for the bonuses at the end, they're going to take their 4 best race times. So it'll be a showdown around the world. There are still a couple locations that they are waiting to finalize and announce. But what we've got so far is on the 10th of March, Miami. And then in April 14th, we got Singapore. In June, still to be announced, somewhere in California, there'll be a race. 20th of July, London. 29th of September, Ibiza. 20th of October, Lake Las Vegas. 17th of November, Dubai. And then November 30th, the grand final, which will be to be announced. So we don't quite know where that will be. And I found it interesting. So they changed the name. So it's not the PTO series or the Pro Triathlon Organization. It's now going to be called the T100. And do you guys want to know why they changed it from PTO? It's kind of funny. I never would have guessed reason.
Let me think about it.
Why would you change it from PTO to T100?
PT to Triathlon 100, maybe?
Well, I mean, definitely Triathlon 100, but is it because of the World Triathlon Organization?
No. So the reason is because of the SEO on PTO in the US is paid time off. So they were the SEO rankings for searching up
social media world.
I found that highly entertaining.
All because of the Google machine.
Well,
right?
because of the Google machine. Yeah.
Well, and because they're a European-based organization, they didn't know that PTO was paid time off in North America, like in the US. So yeah, I found that kind of entertaining. So it's the T100, triathlon, and then 100 for the distance in there. So anyone else think Terminator as soon as they heard that?
So I thought it was a very weird name. And now that you mention this, dude, now I'm thinking about all the people who are having their custom tri-suits already done and already out that have the PTO logo on.
Yeah, so I think they may still have it'll still be the
organization.
Yeah, I think it's just the race series they're changing the name. So that I found entertaining. And then who we've got. So they offer contracts to the top 15 pro women and I believe the top 15 pro men. All the women in the top 15 took it. Some of the men passed up there, and then they had another few selections to kind of fill out the rest of the rankings. And you know what? It is going to be some seriously stacked fields. On the women's side, we have Anne Haug, Ashley Gentle, Taylor Knibb, Lucy Charles-Barclay, Laura Phillip, Kat Matthews, Paula Finley, Daniela Reef. That one surprised me. Emma Simmons, Emma Pallant-Brown, Chelsea Sodaro, Marjolaine Pierre, Skye Munch, Tamara Jewett, India Lee, Amelia Watkinson, Holly Lawrence, Lucy Byram, Taylor Spivey, and Flora Duffy. And amazingly, I think I said those names right.
Yep.
So it is definitely going to be some stacked racing in the women's field. We'll get into the men's in a second, but any thoughts on who's racing and maybe who's not?
I mean, the fact that they got the top 15 in every single one of them at the end of the last year's rankings, right? 1 through 15 on the women's side is insane that they got that. But it also shows you, does this happen in a Kona year?
Exactly.
And probably not. We'll find out next year who signs for the T100.
That is a good point.
So look at the names on the men's side.
Yep.
They did not have as much luck with the men top 15. Now, they didn't miss too many, but they did have a harder time confirming the men than they did the women. So my guess is on a factor.
100%.
I did not know that, but you're absolutely right. No, it definitely it'll be interesting to see, and can't say too much, but the contracts for signing on to the PTO versus the Ironman series, I think, had a significant impact on some of these decisions, because if you're going for the Ironman series, you're hoping to win prize money, you're hoping to win the money at the end of the series. With PTO, they are offering those top names some serious money.
It's salary plus commission.
Yep.
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
what it is.
So you're guaranteed, if you make it through 6 races, to get a big payday. That's pretty hard to pass up for. Maybe you'll have results at Ironman.
Yeah.
Well,
it's going to be interesting too, because now, I mean, the T100 is a set field, right? And then a few wild cards that they can throw in there. And now you'll have some couples that are being split too, like the Lagerstroms, the future Lagerstroms, and one of them doing Ironman or Xterra, and one of them doing T100. It'll be interesting to see how that plays out for some of that too. And we saw, I mean, Sam's Long's fiance is now backing out of becoming a pro, so she's given up her pro card to be a full-time mom and things like that. So you wonder if that was a factor, right? Nice little big check coming T100 way, and Sam's like, all right, no, you don't worry about your training. We got it covered now.
Yeah, got it covered. Let's see how much more we can get with some good results in there. No, absolutely. So on the men's side, we've got Magnus Dietlev, Jason West, Peter Hemrick, Matthias Margier, yes, Rudy Monberg, Leon Chevalier, Sam Long, Daniel Backegaard, Bradley Weiss, Sam Laidlow, Freddie Funk, Clement Mignon, Aaron Royal, David McNamee, Ben Knute, Max Newman, and then where it gets interesting, we got Javier Gomez, Alistair Brownlee, Rico Bogan, and Martin Van Riel. So it is definitely going to be good on that side. I know we don't have the top 15, but we got a good chunk of them. And then some of the, I guess, wild cards in there are definitely going to be changing up the race dynamics. So that makes it very, very exciting.
Yeah.
I just want to see, like, it'd be so fun to see, like, Ali and Javier, like, back at the front of the races, battling it out again at a different race distance. That'd be so fun. But I don't know if they're, like, the top talent these days. It's a young field that is just absolutely smashing it. So curious to see how it plays out.
Yeah, for sure.
And it's also interesting too, because they want this creation of this season, like the NBA, like the NFL. There's got to be a story, is what they're going with as the reason for this, and having all the different races. But there's no like playoff bracket when it comes to the Grand Championship, and we don't know where that's going to be yet either. But you show up and you win more money and more points at that final race to be the overall season champion. But there's not like you get, by having a good season, it doesn't line you up better for the Grand Championship either. It just helps you in the points too. So you could win that final race and really not even podium all year long in the T100 and potentially have a chance of winning the whole thing.
Yeah, it's really interesting how they lay out the points, and I think the other. Go ahead, Fede.
Oh, I was just going to say that I think it's going to be based on the WTCS circuit, which all of the races give out points, and the grand final gives out double. So even though if an athlete wins the grand final, that athlete may not be winning the world title just because that person didn't race a lot of events, or maybe the athlete finished, I don't know, 5th each race, but then wins the grand final, but then another athlete has 2 top 2s and 1 win, then it's just all points based. I think that's the way they're going to do it, to keep it fair and honest. And I agree. I just wanted to add, Josh and Jenna, that we have a strong field on the men's side, obviously. I mean, but it's going to be interesting because it's a Kona year on the men's side. What races the likes of, Magnus Ditlev, Daniel Bækkegård, Sam Laidlow choose to race, because I don't think they're going to be at every single race. Maybe they're going to have the minimum to earn the bonus and the grand final, but around Kona, I don't think they're going to be racing Las Vegas, for example.
I mean, Vegas is the week before. I mean, that was what I was just going to say. There's no way they're showing up at Vegas. and the same thing with Oceanside to kick off the year. Singapore's the week after.
Yeah.
So how does that? I would imagine you're going to have people like Sam and those who are the Ben Canutes of the world who want to do Oceanside. So there's Singapore that they're not doing.
Yeah.
And then, okay, so they'll do Miami, Oceanside, and California to kick off their season, I guess would be my guess.
See, I think a lot of them are going to start to pass on these Ironman races and just go all into the PTO, because that gets, with having to do 6 races, you're running out of races you can skip. Like Las Vegas, obviously, if anyone's doing Kona, they're skipping that. But even Ibiza isn't that far out.
No.
It's only 2 weeks before Kona there too. So that may push some of them to skip Oceanside, do some of that earlier season stuff. Like it's really, it's interesting. The one thing I worry about too is, could this create a closed circuit for PTO? Like you get into these races by being ranked in kind of the top 15, you're pretty much in. But PTO races are worth more points in the PTO rankings, which fair. But does that create a case if you're not on the circuit? How do you get on the circuit?
Exactly.
Essentially.
Yeah.
Like that makes it a lot tougher to get some fresh blood going in and getting some new faces out there. As much fun as it is to hear more stories, and that's definitely good for the sport from just a media perspective, you still want to see people to have those chances. And if you get 1 or 2 wild cards, you're still not going to get the points to kind of get into the series later on either. So I'm curious to see how that'll play out.
What I would love for the PTO to do is to have like a sub division races going on for developing pro athletes, also with guaranteed money, also with prize money, but just to give them a chance to get more experience and survive on doing the sport. And then the best of those guys may be able to go into the PTO T100 racing circuit, but maybe that's down the line. And maybe, hopefully, the PTO has this on sites, because it'll be awesome to see. I mean, we have it in tennis, we have it in golf. There's these really important events, yet they're not the majors. But people can still make a living by playing those. So that would be awesome for the PTO to look into, in my opinion.
And they're going to have age group races around these events too, over the same weekend too, it sounds like.
Yeah, I wonder if you qualify for the grand final by doing one of these races. Maybe that's the plan as well.
Maybe down the line. I don't think that's the setup for this year. Could be wrong, but don't think they're jumping into that this year. I think right now it's potentially you'll have some long distance qualifications, but be curious to see if they go for that. That would be interesting to have the grand final be a qualifier. But I'm just excited that they're doing these race around age group races, because that means there's more likely to be people on course cheering, some energy down there, some spectators. That always makes it kind of more fun to watch.
Any guesses on where the grand final is going to be?
I
think it's got to be somewhere. I think it's going to be somewhere in Europe, maybe.
See, I would have said Singapore if they hadn't announced it earlier.
I mean, Europe in November could get tough.
Yeah.
One of the hardest ones they had, it sounded like, was Vegas, just finding the right time, and that's what they're kind of reasoning for it being close to Kona is you can't really race in Vegas too many times during the year to have the ideal weather.
So I've heard some rumors that may or may not be true. Potentially Germany. Like I said, may or may not be true. It's all rumors at this point.
Or Southern Hemisphere, like
I was thinking like South Africa,
and Australia, and maybe we have another showdown like we had in 2018 with Ali Brownlee, Javi, and Jan at the 70.3 Worlds in South Africa. Version 2.
And that's another one too. It's going to be the grand finals right before 70.3 Worlds. So that's going to knock
Right.
that out as well. Man, 70.3 Worlds isn't going to be
I mean,
very
I know for a fact Martin Van Riel is aiming 70.3 Worlds as well as Hayden Wild. So those two guys, I don't think they're going to be in the T100 grand final.
Yeah, but I think Martin Real has to be for the bonus. Part of his contract, the grand final, I think is written into all of their contracts. I could be wrong. This is just stuff I've heard.
Yeah.
But I think they have to be at the grand final if they want that appearance fee.
Oh, okay. Here's me playing devil's advocate. What if, just what if some guys show up to the grand final and I'm not having the greatest of days. I'm gonna pull out after 10Ks onto the bike and then have an amazing race at 70.3 Worlds. That could happen if showing up is just the requirement.
I totally agree with you. That is definitely a possibility. Because that's most of the big names you'd be looking kind of at the top end of 70.3 Worlds. And we didn't have a stacked field last year either. That was, kind of disappointing. Kudos to the winner in there. It looks like he'll be racing on the T100, but yeah, I can't see it being crazy stacked that soon after the grand final of PTO. So if you're an up-and-coming pro, make that your A race. Put lots of sponsor bonuses on that one. But the other thing, too, is some of these athletes, we haven't even mentioned Super League. Super League is going to be kicking off right after the Olympics as well. So not a ton of the names, but a couple of them you would have potentially seen in the crossover there. But I think that's taking away a lot of the Olympic athletes that potentially would have come in as wildcards. I think a lot of them will be doing the Super League series right after instead.
Yeah.
Definitely the Norwegians are going to play a factor into this in some way, whether they're going to do it or not. Where is Christian going to go? What is Gustav going to do post-Olympics if Gustav even gets there? And we all know that's a factor that's up in the air. And it sounds like he's still kind of healing up from the Achilles and ramping up. But based on Christian's FTP number that apparently shattered the world record, he's ready to go.
Well, what happens? What if Christian gets a wild card to the grand final, goes and wins it?
Hey,
I can totally see that.
We've seen crazier things than that.
Yeah. If he weren't doing the Olympics, I would fully expect him to be doing the PTO and the Ironman series, every single race.
Yeah, and Super League and everything. Yeah.
And Super League, yeah, of course. Super League's like a warm up.
I think he's definitely focused on the Olympics, and then Kona are his two big concerns this year. I don't think we're going to see the Christian that we saw last year in terms of schedule.
Yeah. And I can't wait to see the WTCS racing kick off again and see where everyone's at. It's so hard to make any kind of predictions right now because you don't know what everyone's been up to in the off season and how that form is coming along. So it'll be exciting once that kicks off as well. Man, there is so much racing now. As fans of the sport, it's an amazing thing, but I feel for some of these pros, it's going to be a long season. Well, we will move on then. Like I said, there have been so many announcements this week. We finally have actually a few things in here. So we finally have the 70.3 World Championships has been announced in the new location. And, it's fun. It'll be back in Europe. We're going to kind of change it up a little bit from going down to New Zealand. What are you guys' thoughts on the new location?
I love it.
In Marbella, Spain. I should mention where it is.
We're in on it.
I think it's great. I think Marbella is going to be an amazing destination. Spain has a rich triathlon culture, and I don't call me a bit of a romantic, but I would like to see Javi Gomez taking the title and then calling it a retirement, kind of like mic drop type of race. That'd be good to see, him winning in home soil and then just hanging the boots, or I don't know. We'll see. we'll see if he wants to do Kona this year. But yeah, that'll be awesome.
That would be a nice kind of fairy tale ending, kind of have a crazy result there, home country, and then call it a day.
Mm. Yeah, and the bike is not going to be flat, that's for sure. Like Marbella is there's a lot of hills around the area, so I think it's going to be a very interesting race. Much like, I mean, not like Nice, but definitely more, maybe like Chattanooga. Do you remember 70.3 Walls in Chattanooga? I think it's going to be similar to that.
Perfect. I like a hilly bike course.
Yeah, yeah.
No, that'd be a good one. That's one I'd definitely make the trip up for. Go to 70.3 Worlds there. Well, I'm not doing any 70.3s this year. Maybe I'll have to do it.
It'll be interesting to see how many like slot downs there are at the end of the year this year, whereas last year there was a ton, and not everyone was confirming Taupo. So I think now that you throw it in the middle of the world and make it a little bit more accessible to people from North America, then maybe you'll start to see not as many of the 15th placers in the age group getting spots.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they'll be able to fill it up a lot easier just because they're so triathlon heavy and you're up there too. It's really easy to travel over from there. I think we'll still see a fair bit of roll downs in North America, but definitely less so than New Zealand. That's a long way to go for most people.
Yeah, plus it's like an awkward time, especially for North America with Thanksgiving and then Christmas right around the corner. It's really going to be those really committed athletes who are willing to make the trip that wanna take the slot. So if you want to qualify for Topo, I think racing in North America, you have a very strong chance on getting a slot.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you're definitely right there. And we got a number of races still up on the calendar where you can do that this season. So it's going to be an awesome race. And Bede says it's cool over there and it'll be a lot of fun to race over there.
Yeah. I'm going to be happy to share all the insights with all the Mauna athletes and everyone.
There we go.
I've been over to Topo a few times, and I know all where the currents are. You know, on the lake when you catch the nice currents, so you can swim fast, and then where to go on the bike. So yeah, home field advantage a little bit.
Perfect. You'll have to give me the rundown. Don't tell any of my competitors.
Yeah, I won't tell. No, we won't tell anyone.
There we go. Love it. No, that'll be a good one. And yeah, really curious because obviously we've just found out the PTO series for this year. I'm really interested to see what impact it has in the coming seasons because there is talk of them adding the number of races that they have to it, like up to 12 plus races, which will definitely kind of block out the calendar. I guess that's a place where potentially you could have some more up and comers coming in. If they do have 12 races and just need to compete in, say, 6 to 8. But yeah, I think it's definitely going to change the landscape, and we're going to see more of a divide again between the Ironman and the middle distance. Kind of, yeah, I guess we used to call 70.3 middle distance, but this is kind of that in between. So, the T100 and the long course athletes. Be interesting to see where everyone splits off. Or, I wonder if there's ever a world where Ironman starts giving appearance fees to the top names again to get them out to their races if this really hits them with some of the participation this year.
Well, they have a new president, so we now know who's in charge of Ironman, which we didn't know until this week as well. So another announcement.
So why don't we roll straight into that then? So Ironman, Andrew Messick, the long-term CEO, has stepped down. He's going to be retiring, but he's still going to be on the board and do a handover to their new CEO, who is Scott DeRue, who is getting started up this week, it sounds like. And you know what, honestly, it sounds like it's a pretty good selection here. Obviously, don't know the guy, but he was running Equinox, where he saw a bunch of operations that were quite similar to what Ironman is looking at. So, different locations. They had the one-on-one personal training. So my hope is that they put more thought into the Ironman coaching and certification stuff, because right now that whole thing is a bit of a disaster. But it'll be interesting to see what best practices, what thoughts he brings into the triathlon world. He's not a triathlete himself, but at least has a lot of experience on the business side of sport and fitness. So I'm curious to see where it goes. I know people have a lot of thoughts and opinions. I want him to bring the pro races back together, but I'll be curious to see how much input Andrew Messick still will have being a part of the board and how many new ideas or changes the new CEO might bring. What do you guys think?
I didn't have as much time to do research on that announcement, thanks to all the other announcements this week. But just based on the recap you gave there and some of the stuff I was able to read up, I mean, it does sound like it's any hire was going to be a good change, and they were going to make some type of a move to enhance the brand, and hopefully he is able to do that. But like you said, leading into this, is that something that Ironman considers going forward with the salaries or bonuses and things like that? I don't know. I guess they're going to play a lot of competitive analysis this year and see how the T100 goes. And is it a Kona factor, or is it a whole brand shift at this point? And are they going to start losing athletes? And they can't go anywhere without their pros. They can charge age groupers all they want, but the pros are what drive the sport.
Yeah,
absolutely. No, just ask the sponsors. They wouldn't be sponsoring these pros if they didn't make an impact on their bottom line, right? And I think for a long time there was no competition for Ironman when it came to the pro athletes. They would have, well, the biggest thing was just a lot of the sponsorship bonuses were based on Ironman races, because that's where you'd find the most competitive racing in the top names, and that's what they wanted to be associated with. That's not the case anymore. So curious to see if that shifts, and they definitely responded to the shift already with this Ironman Pro Series. I'm really, it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. Ones like Sam Long, that definitely surprised me. He's doing the P100 instead of Ironman, because you think you have a good shot at being at the top of the rankings there. But like I said, those appearance fees, they're pretty healthy, we'll say.
And 3 of the races were in America. So, I mean, for somebody like Sam, new dad, wanting to stay close to home, there's half of his season right there.
Totally
Absolutely.
fair. And just money, that makes such a drastic difference when they're having to, most races, gamble on them because it costs so much to travel to be there. And then you could end up walking away with nothing. So, yeah, that security is something that triathlon hasn't had for quite a while. Well, there have been so many announcements, a few other things going on in the sport, lots to talk about, of course, but I think we may leave it at that for this week. We'll see some more racing coming up in the next few weeks, and we'll definitely stay on top of all of it and let you guys know as new developments pop up. I know you've probably heard about all of this on 100 different podcasts at this point, but it's just fun to chat about it and think about the potential outcomes and how this is going to shape the landscape of triathlon on the pro side. It's exciting to see there is a shakeup, and we're going to have some epic showdowns across a number of race distances this year. I cannot wait. How about you guys?
Yeah, it's going to be an amazing year to follow with T100, Ironman, WTCS, Super League. I mean, it's a great time to be a triathlon fan. And the more
Olympic race.
exactly with the Olympics, I mean, it's a good time to be alive and to be following the sport. And as long as everybody has the sport interest in a good space, then I think everybody's going to benefit from it. So exciting times, and can't wait to follow.
And we got a couple of the T100 athletes racing this weekend too in Tasmania. So I think Javi Gomez on the guys on the men's field, and Chelsea's racing again. So her second 70.3 already this season.
Yeah.
Doing it like the cyclists, racing to fitness and get everything tested out.
Yeah, I mean, she's going with the Christian Blumenfeld schedule this year, it looks like.
Classic.
Cool.
It's all that strength training she's been promoting.
There
you go.
Oh, I love it. Well, thank you as always, guys, for joining me here. And we will be back next week to chat some more and dive more into, I'm sure there'll be more updates, insights over the coming week after all of these announcements. But we will be back then. Have a great night, guys.
Sweet. Yep. See you
next
guys.
week.